Hello, I'm Jody Wolf, and you're watching Expoz. It is November 1st, 2018, 10:47 p.m. Guys, I know you have heard it all. At least we think we've heard it all, but we have not. Just imagine what all has been thrown at us in the past few weeks. Here we've had the pipe bombs, and right there on right in the middle of the pipe bombs is really the people caravan. And you have the problem in Canada with the Syrian refugees. Well, guys, just imagine the same thing is going to happen here if the left gets their way. Agenda 21, that's their goal. They have no other goals. They have that one, Agenda 21. And what is that going to do? The same thing that Hitler did to all of Europe, and it will turn this country quickly into a socialist country. Everyone in this country will be subject to new laws, which will, look, read the globalist laws in any country, any socialist country. Go to Cuba and look at their laws. We're going to be identical to that. Look, they now get this, citizens of Cuba, they get 2 chickens, and I'm talking about real chickens, meals per year from the government. They're not allowed to have chickens. Did you know that? They're not allowed to have anything other than a small garden. But if they can't give everyone 2 chickens a year, then many families miss out on one for Thanksgiving. They have a Thanksgiving and another holiday. This is several years back. A man did some favors for a guy out of town who raised chickens for the government. Anyone that has chickens, they're raising them for the government. So what they did was worked out a deal. He said, look, I can slip you one. You just don't tell anybody where you got this chicken. Don't worry about that. So you get into a neighborhood, an area where that year they didn't get a chicken. And you get somebody frying fried chicken, you smell it for a mile. I'm going to tell you, everybody smelled it in the neighborhood. One person turned that man in, and it was his own brother that lived next door. That man and his family, his wife, and his elder children all went to jail. The wife came home, or the children came home first, the wife came home after that, and the man was locked up for over 2 years for having a chicken. I had a customer. He was a doctor. He was from Cuba. He and his wife lived through the era where Castro, there was a coup, and he took over from the government that was in Cuba. And by taking over, you have Castro going out to all the citizens, and this is in school. They raised them this way, that he imposed his ways, which is Agenda 21, the socialist agenda, in the schools back then, where they had to learn certain things. Well, he threw in a monkey wrench. He said, you know what? We're going to quit letting them have Christmas here. And for a number of years, they were not allowed to have Christmas. And then Castro went to the schools, and it was on loudspeakers, and where they could get it, it was on the television. He said, you know what? If y'all pray really hard to Santa that he'll may bring you some presents, then maybe you'll get them. Well, they prayed, and it didn't happen. They prayed, and it didn't happen. They prayed, it didn't happen. The 4th time they prayed, this doctor told me, then Castro delivers presents. And then Castro told them, he said, you know who will get you what you want as long as you come and pray to me. That happened, guys. And this doctor, he and his wife were leaving to go to Miami, and he was going on the purpose, on the reason of getting some up-to-date classes on what he was doing. He was a gynecologist, and he was going to get some new materials and get some new studies and get caught up. Well, they let him go. He's always gone alone for a week. This time he took his wife, and they did not return. And they moved to the city that I worked in, was Mount Brook, Alabama. He told me this story, and his wife told me this story about them praying to Castro for years, or praying to Santa for years and not getting nothing, and then praying to Castro, and all of a sudden they get them. They brainwash the children. Guys, they'll do the same thing right here. They'll brainwash our children into believing whatever they want them to believe. They're going to herd us together, and you're going to move into inner city to reduce your footprint anywhere. They're going to make all the country eventually a footprint that you're not allowed to go on. They will give millions of acres over to a little fish in California in the Sacramento River in lieu of large farms that are feeding people. This is a socialist agenda that they want. And not only that, you go back where the establishment was taking billions of dollars and pocketing that money. Look, there was $1 trillion a year going away from the United States. And I know that you've heard that before, but that's the fact, that's the truth. And it was called the dark government. They got $1 trillion off the top every year, and it still happens. And Trump is the only one that can stop it. And it's up to us to make that happen on the 6th of this month. And we got to do it. If not, we're going to be socialist. This is their goal. If we fail now, you're going to see Hillary Clinton come pop up in the spotlight. Of course, they're going to begin to fight her on the left now because they're liking the limelight for themselves. So we have a problem. We need to go and take care of it, or we can sit down and let Agenda 21 take over, where this country is sliced up like a 16-piece pumpkin pie, handed over to the Pope and to the UN, where each piece will be given to a different country. That's what's going to happen here. But the pieces that are given to different countries are tightly controlled. You take Florida, you take everything from Jacksonville to the south, and you put them in Miami, or you move them to mid or central Florida there, put them all in one city. Everything outside of that, there'll be no beaches where people will be on them because the beaches will be private. You take the other part of Florida and put them in another central location, and that'll be it. There'll be no one living in suburbs. They're all moved to the inner cities. Your job goes away. Your money goes away. This Obamacare comes back that you can't afford, so the government will have to take care of you. And like this woman that went to New Zealand to have her baby because she have no insurance in Canada, and she's a citizen. After 31 weeks, she has no insurance, so she went there and hoped that they would pay for her baby. Guys, we got to stand up and do it today, please. If not, Agenda 21 is going to be our way of life. And I urge you to read up on socialism, communism, and Agenda 21. That's how they got there. Jody Wolf, Expoz. By the way, this is the left that's doing all of this. That's why it's titled Madness in the Left Lane.